Beloved friends, today on duty are 10. We are rewarded of being together in the preparation of the Odessa group and our friends who are in special conditions. We received from them a special luck. We truly felt it, and based on it we built this entire preparation. As we heard from our teacher yesterday, it doesn't matter in what states we are. We cannot deceive the Creator. Only ourselves we can deceive. This is our present state. But each one of us was rewarded in that the Creator stretched out his hand to him and brought him to the good faith, to the teacher, to the group. Now we will read special excerpts that we found as a result of the preparation we did together, excerpts in which it says that precisely thanks to the common work in connection between the friends we can be impressed from each other, and the most important is that as a result we get the force from above, the force that we need, which is called faith above reason, the force that gives us the ability to do the work of connection, and the work of connection is the remedy for everything. As we heard from our teacher, let's connect around a source excerpt from Rabash. This person has a desire for spirituality within him, which comes from himself. In other words, even when he is alone and there are no people around him to affect him, from whom to absorb some desire, he receives an awakening and craves to be a servant of the Creator. But his desire is certainly not big enough for him not to need to enhance it, so he can work with it to obtain the spiritual goal. Therefore, there is a way, just like in corporality, to enhance that desire through people on the outside who will compel him to follow their views and their spirit. This is done by bonding with people whom he sees, but also have a need for spirituality and the desire that those people on the outside have to get a desire in him, and thus he receives a great desire for spirituality. In other words, in addition to the desire that he has from within, he receives a desire for spirituality that they get in him, and then he acquires a great desire with which he can reach the goal. The question for an active workshop: let's be impressed by each other and increase our desire to attain the goal in the Congress. Again, let's be impressed by each other and increase our desire to attain the goal in the Congress. You can feel the journeying of all the friends. It's a really great deficiency that keeps growing. The more we approach the Congress, we understand it's something we build. It cannot come from above, simply from the RA. We are building it, we add to it, and truly we have the privilege to add so many deficiencies, so many points in the heart from all over the world want the same thing with us to reach theirs, not besides him, and that he's good with us. But this is definitely the most exalted goal we can attain. We'll do it together. Our whole life is there is the desire, there is a desire to reach some goal, and here the goal is clear. We need to reach the revelation of the Creator between us, in the connection between us. So let's do it together, because only together we can reach it. This together is that each and everyone raises the importance of their friends, pays attention to this clear, the place where the upper force has to dwell, the Creator. So it'll be good and comfortable. Yes, I'm truly grateful to you, friends. I'm very much impressed by our seriousness, our preparation for the Congress. Yesterday in our meetings, we could feel the need to be together in every sense of that word. And this scrutiny that keeps getting deeper of what does it really mean to be together during the Congress, not to be separated, and it continued in that we were also in a very moving isham together, and we heard that the friends truly opened their heart in such a way that you simply dissolve. They invest so much in the preparations for the Congress that it makes me feel very small. And the friends from Moscow and Odessa who gave this preparation together we could feel the overcoming, and the efforts, and the warmth that is created as a result of all of this work. So we are surrounded by numerous examples, and also between us in the tent and around us, and there is a lot of gratitude for that. Says in the last evening there was already, you could feel the opening of the gates, because we heard again what Rav told us, that we are invited to the king's palace, and it was truly, you could truly feel that the gates are open for us, and the only thing that's required is that we will be connected so that we can enter during the congress, and it will happen, and this leaves an impression and a great inspiration. We're here. We're seeing all the friends in the hall in the world, all the congresses that are about to come our way. How are we learning about this? Besides him, the thought of creation. So the thought of creation wants us to be aware, to open our eyes. We have to agree between us and awaken the deficiency and the need for it. So that's what we need. That's what the world needs. That's what creation wants of us. And we should try to coordinate it. Yes, dear beloved friends, and we're moving on to the next part of our preparation. We were looking for a quote that could be the most suitable for our situation. We looked a lot for it, and the Creator heard us. And after we read the words of our great teacher, Rabash, we will want to enter not just a silent workshop, but rather connect in mutual gratitude for the Creator, that we are capable of discovering that there is none else besides him in the 10. So the excerpt that Valer will read begins with these words, that one must believe that there is none else besides him, and the Creator does everything. Valera, please, why is the Torah called middle line in the work? For example, there is a situation where a person does not want to get up and learn before dawn, so the Creator hides himself in a dressing of friends, and he gets out of bed even though he's tired, since a thought came to his mind that it is not nice to the friends that they all come to learn, and he is not, since then everyone will look at his loneliness. Hence he gets up and goes to the seminary and learns. It follows that he does not have the energy to get out of bed because of the commandment of the Creator. So the Creator does not force him to go to the seminary, since if this were the reason, he would be lying in bed. But the friends do obligate him. We heard in this excerpt that specifically behind the friends the Creator is hiding, and thanks to that we can feel gratitude now in the time we have left. We want to give thanks to the Creator for everything he gives us through the friends. Hello friends, before we start the lesson, we'll watch a short clip of Raf that speaks about the light in the recorded lesson. Rob, can we draw the reforming light also when Rob is not present? I hope you will study in such a way that you will be able to draw the reforming light even without me. But when me speak about my recorded lessons, why did I labour so much that we will have an archive, and there will be all the materials of Balasam and Rabash, and they will all be recorded, even a few times, and everything will be organised. Why did they labour so much? Precisely so, that he will always have the possibility to study and enjoy from the reforming light and get closer to the revelation of their Creator. Should there be a difference for us students if we're learning from even a live or recorded lesson? In truth, I don't think so. When I now read the words of Rabash, it is for me truly as though I hear it from him. Truly so, and even more because I was when I was sitting next to him. I was listening. Less the work different when listened to a live versus recorded lesson. I think that listening to a recorded lesson is more difficult, but more beneficial. Watch the labour in a recorded lesson. What is the effort to extract the reforming light? That I constantly think about, that where is the force that will influence me when my deeds reach the deeds of my forefathers, to be more focused on that. when listening to a recorded lesson versus watching a live lesson. Yes, in a recorded lesson you have to pay more attention, but it's also clear to them that here they need to exert in the first part of the lesson. We're going to continue to learn from a lesson from August 22nd, 2019, a lesson on the topic of besides him. Selected excerpts from the sources continue from excerpt number 6. Shalom. Hello. We will read selected excerpts from the sources on the topic of besides continue from excerpt number 6. You can send questions to our website and selected questions will be asked during the lesson. Well, I hope that you can hear me. So, let's start with excerpt number 6. I just want to say a few words in general about this concept of there is none else besides him. It is the most important concept in the wisdom of Kabbalah, and each time we need to attain it anew, so it's not the way that it seems to us that we're actually repeating the same words. It's never the same words because we change. Therefore, this concept will always appear different. And if a person doesn't feel a change in it, then it is a reason for concern. Why don't I feel a change? Because there is none else besides him is always undergoing changes, because here we're talking about the Creator himself, his uniqueness, the way that he in his guidance and providence is operating on us. I don't remember, we went through 5 previous quotations, but we can take it from the maybe we should start from the beginning, because I don't recall it. So please go ahead. So starting with excerpt number 1. Balism test part 1. In a reflection, the entire reality, upper and lower as one, and the final state of the end of correction was emanated and created by a single thought. That single thought performs all the operations and is the essence of all the operations and the purpose and essence of their labor. It is in it in itself the entire perfection and the sought after reward. Again, please, again, the entire reality and upper and lower as one in the final state of the end of correction was emanated and created by a single thought. That single thought performs all the operations and is the essence of all the operations and the purpose and essence of the labor. It is in itself the entire perfection and the sought about reward. Here we see that the concept of the Creator, the Emanator, the upper one, is a constant concept, and also there's a question: what does it mean that in one thought the whole of reality was created and emanated? Did it happen once? Did it occur once? Or do we is it that we live in the concept of time, and this is why it appears to us? But whichever way you look at it, we live in some kind of a constant reality, and the upper ones and the lower ones together until the end of everything, the end of correction. This is what is transpiring before us, and so we are even without us. This whole reality has to be revealed to us. It in itself already exists in its perfection. There is nothing that needs to develop here. There is nothing new. Rather, it is all with respect to men, with respect to people. In short, that same reality that we have to discover what we are, who we are. Are we many, or is it just one Adam? One human with so many thoughts and desires and seemingly actions. But the reality is a reality that is constant in that there is no innovation in it in terms of the Emanator. He created it, and it simply unfolds this way. So what can men determine here? We have a possibility to take part in the revelation of this reality. And in this participation we exist, meaning in what pace is it revealed? In which manner is it revealed? And mostly for whom do we exert to discover this reality? Therefore he says that this one thought, the thought of creation to begin with, when it operates, it includes everything in it. As he says that this single thought performs all the operations and is the essence of all of the operations and the purpose and essence of the labor, and it in itself is the entire perfection and the sought after reward, meaning that it includes everything within it, and we only have to try to connect to it to want to be included in it. And, actually, this is all of our efforts, all of our work. It's in that. However, it is impossible to say that in that we're seemingly disconnected from the emanator. He did it. He opened up for us the thought of creation by his attitude towards us, and that's it. No, rather, if we exert to reach identification with that thought of creation, then by that we attain the emanator. That's what it's about. We don't just exist on the levels of the still vegetative, animate, but rather, when I exert to discover his thoughts, everything shall be clarified. By the thought I attain the emanator, and I'm included with him. I feel him, I connect with him, and he wants me to open up this thought entirely, so that through this thought, when I climb on it from my state and up to the source of the other thought, which is him, to that point where this thought was formed in him seemingly according to the concept of time, or agrees, by that I come closer to him, not to the thought itself, but to him, and this is how we discover him. Any questions? We perceive neither him nor his thought. So what's the difference really? He himself is a thought, or how does that work? Yes. But the fact that the thought of creation is everything. However, I on my side am now going to try to attain it. The Creator has given me an opportunity. He seemingly opened up in me some part like our white stain, which is called the deficiency for him, and through his deficiency that I develop, that I aim it towards him. I say the following: indeed there is none else besides him, and I am included in this concept. I don't want to do anything in terms of my place in the whole of reality, but only to attain him, to unite with that thought of creation. This is called adhesion with the Creator. So as much as we exert in that, we will start to discover how much we are beginning to develop. According to changes of form, according to the axis of time, there will be all kinds of changes in us. They will transpire in us, and through these changes, we will feel how much we're beginning to take on his form. It is like, well, even in this world, if you connect with someone, with a friend, gradually take on his qualities, taste, and therefore what we get, as it says, and the name of the Lord shall be upon you, is that we by that begin to take on the form of the Creator, the thought of the Creator, meaning that that same thought begins to be ours. In such a way we come to adhesion, meaning what the Creator created is he created this thought, and we are a part of it. We're included in it. However, what he gave us besides this thought is that we can format ourselves according to that thought, and then we're included in him, integrated with him. So that thought, like software in a computer, enters us according to our desire, according to how we draw it, and then it formats us. It arranges us in such a way that in whatever there is in us, in all of the 620 parts, qualities, desires, everything that there is, we don't yet know what it is. We begin to understand, to feel, to detect the upper force that is operating within us. Bit by bit, he fills us up. As we see in a computer, let's say, when we download some software or something, there is this bar that is gradually filled up until we completely download it. So this is how you might say, this is how the thought of creation works on us. According to our efforts, according to how we give the ability to operate, then it enters us. This is considered that we are adhered to the Creator, that he fills us up. This is adhesion. Questions. In our efforts to reach difficult, where is the personal, where's the a person's personal work, and where is the work of their 10? I think that all of our work, the personal work, is only in being integrated with the 10, because if you're not integrated in the 10, even though sometimes it takes a whole, an entire life, sometimes several lives, several incarnations. Look how many people and how long humanity has been turning until maybe in the nearby future, it will understand that there is no choice and it has to work on connection between them, otherwise it won't be compatible with the earthly nature, with the planet Earth, and planet Earth simply won't stand, it won't tolerate it, and will erase it. How long does it take? How many suffering, how many actions? So I think that all of our work before we start integrating in the group is work that comes before the real work. And when we begin to integrate in the group, we, as I said before, that there is this bar, this rectangle that starts filling up as it is when we start downloading software. So to the extent that I'm integrated in the group, I make room for the thought of creation so that it will come in and fill me up. I only make room as much as I make room out of myself, and I'm included in the 10 to that same extent I make room, and the thought of creation then prepares my connection with the group, which is called the corrected clay, and in that way I can be filled up, and I identify and reach adhesion with the Creator, and increasing the adhesion. This is why there is no work on a division of the Creator if it is outside of the 10. This is not how it seems to me that it was in past years, meaning in past degrees. It's not really years, but past degrees of humanity rather. There were all kinds of other possibilities to reach connection and adhesion. But in our times this is how it is, and we can see, according to what Kabbalists write. Yes, please. What does it mean that all of creation was created in a single thought, that being the essence, the purpose of the exertion of their labour, but the whole of reality, meaning what we feel, there is no other reality besides what is felt inside of the person, as we can say in general that besides the Creator, I mean, this is what he did, he created this thought, this is outside of him. Hence it is called the thought of creation outside of it, and we exist in that thought. In that thought there is the whole of reality. Whatever we can imagine to ourselves or depict to ourselves, and as much as we ascribe this entire thought only to the Creator, and we exist only to the extent that we can identify with that thought, it turns out that it is the action and the thought, and the essence of the operation, as he writes. It takes on the purpose, and it is the essence of the labour, and it is the entire perfection and the sort after reward. Tell me precisely what is it that you want. Yeah, I'm trying to, in this excerpt. What I never understood is what is the labour here when he talks about the thought. What does he mean by labour? And furthermore, he says the essence of the labour to make room inside of us, the Creator filling up the place with the thought of creation so that we will start to discover him. There is a Creator, there is the thought of creation, and there is seemingly a man, and if that man makes room within him in order to discover the Creator, then the Creator is revealed in a form of the thought of creation. The person starts to understand, to feel with his mind and emotion the attitude, the relation of the upper force towards him, and this way he grows gradually, just like a baby who gradually discovers his parents. There is nothing to add here, meaning what we discover of the Creator is the thought of creation through the thought of creation. When he is revealed, we also discover, if we can say so, we discover him, and here we are cautious not to discover him first of all, because it is impossible, but rather only the thought of creation. This is called not to send your hand. Yes, not to reach out with your hand to him. This is a very exalted high matter, and we're not scrutinizing it right now. However, nevertheless later it will be revealed that here there are things that, and also because they're above our nature. I don't know, at the end of correction, when a person completes his correction, then all of his desires and his thoughts rise to such a degree where seemingly there is no difference between him and the Creator, but I don't understand that, but for the time being we need to be cautious, meaning to correctly distinguish where we can receive the revelation of the Creator, and where we might get very confused. They said about it that it's like Marble talked about it. It's not for us, for the time being. It is enough for us. What we can, where we can practically work, and that's good. We did not jump. So the third of creation, we must get it. It's a great mitzvah to discover it. And this is what we call to discover the Creator. But here there are nevertheless two things that we need to distinguish between the Creator himself and his attitude towards us. We work and discover the Creator's operations on us. And this is why it is called the work of the Creator, that we want to discover it. And we want to know and integrate with the work of the Creator with his attitude towards us. This is important to emphasize, but not him, and to discover his work is through the effort by our own work. Shall we continue unless there are questions? What is previously you said that we annul ourselves toward him, that we're integrated in him, and then you use the word. What's the relation between the two? Well, he gave it to us. This is from his time part 1 of test. He says in 1, thought this entire reality, the upper ones and the lower ones together, was emanated and created until the end of everything. At the end of correction, that single thought includes, performs all the operations. It is the essence of the operations and the purpose and essence of the labor, and it in itself is the entire perfection and the thought after reward. So adhesion is adhesion with what he writes about that thought. If I reach a state where I try to elevate myself above time, place, and movement, above everything that is happening right now, if I try through whatever I feel now in the present reality that appears this way in my desires, this is how I'm built. And to begin with, I guess it is correct. But if I through that want to connect with the thought of creation above time and movement, then I work on myself in order to reach that. And I can reach that only on the condition that I search for means that will help me to come out of my limitations of time and movement and place, and a certain reliable means is only to integrate with the friends there. I don't want to integrate. I don't know what it is. I lose myself if I try to do that. And when I lose myself precisely there, in that point where I got lost, as we say there, I find the approach to being above the limitations, and then I can to some extent be ready to accept, to take on this thought of creation the way it works above time and place and movement, meaning to integrate with friends, truly be included in them, diluting myself in them, integrating with them. It is the means in order to perceive the thought, creation. Otherwise you will not be able to perceive it above time in the way that it operates. That it is entirely, it was all done at once, that everything was emanated and everything was made. So how then can we rise above our time to a state where everything is included there? We cannot grasp it. We don't have such a possibility unless if I through all kinds of means, let's say I'm integrated with the friends, and there I begin to feel how I lose myself, I get lost there, meaning that I lose the framework of my perception of time and place and movement, all of these measurements, and then I come closer to the perception of the thought of creation, one unique and unified eternal whole. This is how we advance, and by this calibration of my qualities towards the thought of creation, we have 620 actions or degrees, or 125 degrees, until I perceive all of it in one complete harbour. Go ahead. The state of the you also described it as us having to feel the like the bone marrow inside us. I wanted to ask, does this state already exist, or do we have to build it? Everything exists. As we read here and in general, there is no time in spirituality. It is above time. Therefore, all of our work is how since the Creator deliberately created us inside of time and place and movement, how do we go out above these limitations so that then we can perceive spirituality in the right way, cannot be limited by time, place, and movement. Therefore, this condition, there is none else besides him. It is the general condition for the perception of the emanator inside of time, place, and movement. There are no words here. Maybe if we continue we will scrutinize altogether and convey the feeling this way. Here we trying to perform a certain action which to begin with cannot be successful. How do you explain to someone who is under the limitations of this world something that can be felt only in an unlimited manner? And you have made me it work inside the tent. This where we realize it. Yes, we try through our effort to integrate in the 10 inside of the friends. We try by that to reach those discernments that exist above our limitations that is in the Creator. The Creator. It's also a very special concept. It's come and see. It is all inside of our qualities in our Carlime. It is not above it. Even, Javier. This is our general, let's say, unlimited perception. The highest one. However, it is in our meaning it is still not the emanator, but this is how we come closer to it. Yes, my thank you. I think that we should continue. Nevertheless, we have an hour past with this first question. Let's move on. We can come back to it if you want to. So we'll read excerpt number 1. Again, the entire reality Elonim upper and Tonim lower as one in the final state of the end of correction was emanated and created by a single thought. That single thought performs all the operations and is the essence of all the operations and the purpose and essence of their labor. It is in itself the entire perfection and the sought after reward. Other questions, or should we continue? You should decide. Let's continue to the next excerpt. Excerpt number 1. Sar for all. All that there is in the world is from the Creator, that He alone did, does, and will do all the deeds in the world. He knows in advance all that will unfold in the end as it is written, declaring the end from the beginning. And He watches and does things in the beginning in order to repeat them and to do them perfectly after some time. Here, we need to maybe pay attention that well maybe read it again. All that there is in the world is from a Creator, that He alone did, does, and will do all the deeds in the world. He knows in advance all that will unfold in the end as it is written, declaring the end from the beginning. And He watches and does things in the beginning in order to repeat them and to do them perfectly after some time. Yes. Well, here we need to see that with respect to the Creator there is no concept of time. If we take upon ourselves the work of above reason, it is considered that we rise above time. Because what does it mean about reason? That we accept things as they are. That this is how they exist. And what is revealed to us is revealed on a certain axis of time only in order for us to know how to arrange ourselves, how to format ourselves in such a way that the concept of time won't create any change in us. That is, let's say that I'm now in a certain state. What will happen in a moment or in a year or in 1,000 years with me, or with the whole world, or whatever I can depict to myself, it is totally unimportant for me. So then already to some extent I rise above the concept of time. Again, it is about how can we expand our boundaries so that by that we give the Creator all of the ability to operate any way He wants, as if He keeps on operating. Reality is a fixed constant reality, and it changes only according to the engine that exists in us. So the fact that we ascribe to the Creator the past, the present, and the future, what will happen at the end, and the end result is in the preliminary thought. All of these things only relate to us. How should we behave in order to give or allow our Kim to come closer to the concept, which is above all of the limitations, which is really the upper reality. Any questions? Rob, you explained that the process usually goes slowly according to the limitations of this world. So where is the work of hastening here? Rob, the work in hastening he is asking correctly is in that we try to expand the boundaries of our perception. As much as we make an effort to be him, there's none else besides him in time, movement, and place. That everything belongs to him and everything has been predetermined. What does this, how does this obligate me? How can I be limited in time, place, and movement being in now versus in a moment? How can I integrate, nevertheless, in the concept of the Creator who's above time and place and movement in each and every action? For him, the past, the present, and the future are all equal. So again, here I have to build inside of me. These new specifically come by me integrating with the friends. I have no other example, no other means. Later on we will discover that this is an excellent means. That includes all of the axes of time and movement and place. That by me integrating with the friends. When I bend myself, and as much as I've been with them, it may take dozens of years until I finally reach the necessity to integrate with them. It turns out that the matter of the integration with the group is the most successful or strengthening in me, opening up in me all of my limitations from the present state to the spiritual state. Then spirituality can specifically be revealed within those same efforts that I make when I want to integrate with the environment. This is why it is a unique and excellent means that we have, and this is why the Creator created it. So to begin with, it's not that it happened by chance or that we don't have a choice, but rather to begin with it was built, created, and it was arranged in such a way, reality was built in such a way that the difference between us and spirituality is manifested in such a way that a person on the one hand is alone by himself, on the other hand he has to integrate with others, and this is impossible. It is impossible if you speak with strangers. Anyone who is a reasonable person will tell you, what are you talking about? How can I think of someone else ahead of myself? If it's about my small, my beloved baby, I'm capable of doing it, but this is a beastly force working in me, but someone else, and in general everyone, the whole, all of the world, all the details in the world, the elements of the world are still vegetative and animate, and speaking about all of them, that it's all here in order for me to care about it, to take care of them, open up my Kim for it, is impossible of course, but this precisely is the difference between this world and the upper world, and it takes us years to persuade ourselves that there's no choice. We have to do it, and we must not stay in our own limitations if we want to be not a beast, but people, humans. This is why here we already have an understanding of what does the Creator give us and what should we engage only in one thing. That's to revoke, cancel the boundaries on of our X's about our perception of time, place and movement, and that's it, because the perception of the Creator, even the smallest one, is nevertheless infinite, and the concept of infinity in has measurements according to a persons, but the persons of the Kim, of the person, meaning that not that the person limits them, but they are limited from above. This is why we can perceive. Because if the Creator is infinity, how can I perceive him through nephesh or anything? How can it be that I build some limited clay in order in with which I perceive an infinite Creator? So here there is a matter that I do not limit myself, rather I want to be adhered with all of my might and soul, but the limitation was placed from above through the cascading of the worlds, all mod from above downwards, and the shattering, and then the grading of the degrees. All of this is with respect to me, so that I will later on be able, through my integration with the concept of a soft, I'll be able to reach it even in a way that is not infinite, but in a way that is discreet, and this is how I can rise. This is why we have to see here, indeed, that the end result is in the preliminary thought that from the end, our final state that was created. Immediately specifically from the final state it was determined in the preliminary thought that the end result that was settled determined the thought of creation and how it comes out, and it cascades until in soft and in back and the shatterings and the corrections and all of these things, but it is all because everything was taken from the end and not from the beginning. This is why this sentence, the end result is in the preliminary thought, is very important. It determines that we must always operate from the end and that the Creator has operated from the end. This is why all of these actions that are revealed as necessary in order to attain the end. Well, there's a lot of philosophy here, and I don't want to elaborate on it, but if you want to, please. Your answer was extended, but I didn't exactly understand where is the work in hastening here. Well, if it's integration in the group, it's not about the times. The integration in the group is because with this integration you have to break your ego in time and movement and place along all of the axes and all of the limitations. You have to bend to yourself. You have to discover that you're incapable of it. But you have no choice also. And then from these two facts that you're incapable of it, and you don't want it, and you hate it, but you have no choice. When these two facts truly stand before you, then make up your mind. What are you going to do? Either you run away from it all and you go back to being an animal, or you want to keep going and you can't keep going. You have no possibility to do it except by crying out. If a person reaches a state where his hands are up to God, then it is truly the beginning of the spiritual work according to what can be see it, according to the fact that he is ready, for everything is ready for anything, because whatever the Creator will, say whatever the Lord does, it is all for the good. Go ahead. Last question. So my attitude towards the work should be with patience or impatience. I don't think that my attitude toward the work should be in patience or impatience. I only need to scrutinize whether am I doing what I should, is it correct for now as much as I can. Understand, we learn that besides integrating with the environment, where I break all of my limitations, there's nothing else to do, and then either I do it or I don't, as it says, or together or not at all. So therefore the work in the 10 in the work in the 10, and also how meticulous about it he is where we are according to that we can see where we are we doing the work of the Creator or not, and it's a wonder how simply we can touch it and be in it. Each hand, every one of us on the one hand and on the other hand, how incapable of holding on to it we are, that we're willing to change the concept of the spiritual work for different other concepts that I'm willing to manage something in society. I'm willing to care for society, to do different chores for them, repairs, something, but not that. I will push myself to annul my ego to really, how to put this, to make room for them to control me, because in those desires, in those thoughts where I make room for them to control me, after that in that same place comes and clothes the Creator, and those same qualities I perform the corrections with the 10, and after these corrections the Creator can already come and clothe in those corrections. It's called I dwell within my people. Why within my people? Because to the measure to which I have developed in me a place for the 10. In that place, in that description, I discover the Creator. There are no longer any limitations in that place. Time, space, movement. I know myself in order to integrate with them. So I've cancelled the boundaries, and so the entire thought of creation from beginning to end and end to beginning, everything's included in it, and it can clothe in me beyond any limitations. Please, We've been repeating it from the beginning of the lesson that the true work begins with integration. So how we begin to do it? How does the transition happen that from this moment on we're going to start integrating? I don't know. We read about it and articles, and we think about it. We talk about it for hours, and you see how every time it disappears, the matter disappears. Were we to be given some other kind of work, anything, we do it. You can hold it in your hand. It doesn't disappear, but its connection, annulment, these are things that can't be. Why? Because like we said, that precisely by exchanging the limitations of this world in which I perceive I perceive reality in terms of time, space, and movement, and also the Creator. This, how I perceive, and I have no choice. This how I am, and to extend this reality onto new boundaries where time, space, and movement do not limit me. Of course, they do, but not the same way they do now where I'm right now. When I elevate these limitations of time, space, and movement to a higher degree, so then in the current degree I'm in Suf I've cancelled them. I'm already in soul devotion towards the Creator. I no longer mind what He does. I'm already in His world, and through the friends I'm devoted to Him, and already to that extent I perceive the concept of spirituality in me. And, of course, it's only for the time being. The next moment I start discovering that this concept is also pretty limited, and starts getting new impressions, and again starts working on the annulment of the yesish, of the so-called yesish what exists, and to start working on cancelling the boundaries once again by being integrated in the friends. And there's no other way to measure that I'm cancelling the boundaries, the borders, but only with them, and this something that we have to thoroughly understand and try to all the time push ourselves this way. Spirituality exists where I cancel the boundary between myself and others, and we're not necessarily talking about a corporeal degree of food, sex, family, money, honour, knowledge, but a bit beyond that, and integrating. So what is the first action in cancelling these boundaries? The first action in cancelling the boundaries writes about it. If I'd say that this how it seems to me that it's submission. Friends, we're going to have a live lesson with I now just wanted to give a short message before that. First of all, we have a great privilege study with the Kabbalith. We just wanted to remind you that love teaches at his own pace, and it is important that we adapt ourselves to him when we ask a question. Let's do it succinctly, briefly. One simple question with a question mark at the edge. No long stories, no long prefaces, not asking about the recorded lesson from before, only about what we're learning with love. Now, even if it takes us some time, if he delays in answering, you can wait patiently. You can ask again, but if he says that he's done, don't pressure. We accept every word and every moment of silence with attention and love. Hello, everyone. We will now have a lesson in which we'll prepare for the convention. There's none of us besides him. We're going over lesson number 4. The subject of the lesson is theirs, none else besides him in the 10. So, we'll read excerpt number 2. From the essence of the assembly is for everyone to be in one unity, and for all to seek but one purpose, to find the Creator in every 10 divinity dwells, and clearly if there are more than 10, certainly there is more of the revelation of divinity. Thus each one should gather with his friend and come to him to hear from him a word about the work of the Creator, and of how to find the Creator. He should know before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him, and everyone should do so. Then when the assembly is with this intention, then quote, more than the calf wants to suckle, the cow wants to nurse. End quote. And the Creator thus approaches them, and he is with them, and great mercies and good and revealed kindness will be extended over the assembly of Israel. This is actually, those are the conditions that we can adhere to the Creator with, and in this way continue to incorporate in him more and more. The example for is from as much as we can be adhered to one another to be in one unity. That is a condition that from within this unity we can be drawn and come closer to the Creator. He is only directed towards our unity, and if we're not in unity, we cannot see him or feel him or find him. And the opposite, the moment we understand unity and want to be in it, we're drawn to it. So in that same motion, we are coming closer towards the Creator. That's what we have to do, because after we reveal the Creator in this way, so we have an opportunity to feel the entire creation, what the Creator wants of us and how we can aim ourselves towards him. That is actually the path towards attainment, towards private providence and general providence, and to understand one unique and unified force that exists above us, that is pulling us towards him. That is what wants to tell us. That's it. Lesson number 4. None else besides. Amend the 10. That was number 2. Any questions? Yes. Gilad in the text, he speaks of the revelation of divinity and the revelation of the Creator. Yes. What is the difference? Actually, obviously, it's important for us to discover the Creator, to acknowledge him, to know him, and in this way keep going. But it's also important for us the moment we feel that we're in, or even before we feel that we're in, under the control of the Creator, we must develop attitude towards none else besides him. And if a person tries to do it on his own, he has no chance. He has no vessel. But when he leaves the concern of himself, and he only needs to be concerned about the Creator to know him, to come close to him. So from that force of that gathering of the 10 watt, we say a person can reach the feeling of the Creator. Thank you. Now he mentions that divinity dwells in a 10, and that certainly if there are more than 10, there's more of the revelation of divinity. How to understand that correctly, that if there's more than, if you have more than 10, then there's more of a revelation of divinity. We aren't really in this to begin with. We're divided into 10, so more or less. That's why what we need is to be united within the 10s each one, and to see each one's private spiritual purpose while being incorporated in everyone. By this, they are going in their connection more and more to come closer to the Creator. Is a congress such a state of their being more than a 10 congress? A convention is more than a 10, it's a different degree from the audience being divided into many 10s. So first of all, we need to talk about the 10s, and afterwards, when each 10 unites, there's already a place to talk about the connection between the 10s. So this effort a person makes to incorporate with the congress the entire vessel, should it starts when in the congress before. I don't understand when a person can think on how to incorporate in something more than a T. The entire Kli, the entire vessel. The entire vessel, we're not discussing that but probably after we're done, we finished doing our connection in the tense. So then we begin to think, what is there beyond the 10? Thank you. More please. In the Congress, are there different laws regarding persons' work? Yeah. In a convention we have a mutual bestow from all the 10s on all the other. And we need to try and see the difference between the influence of a person to his 10 and more than that. But actually the main thing is that we are trying to be as one man with one heart, and that's on the way. Another question you opened, you said very beautifully that the Creator is setting A condition for us is what I heard, that He's guiding us towards His unity, and He's then revealed within that unity. Yes, but what about states which are opposite to unity? Where is the Creator? There. States that are less than unity. You mean in the 10? Yes, so less than that. We aren't learning about, we don't see them as existing. But it's clear to us that in all those states that a person is in, whether alone or can't connect to others, or there's a matter of connection in a different form, things that we didn't learn. So all those instances, we understand that they also exist within the tent, and the Creator organizes all these instances for incorporation in the 10, or we try to be adhered to a person, meaning one to the other, and in this way we'll come closer and learn. But why do we say that the Creator is only revealed in connection? There are many different situations, and if I look for the root, the cause for every situation, separation or unity, and I adhere to that, why can't you discover that there's none else besides Him operating in every state connection? And this connection, of course, that's how it is. The Creator bestows upon us in all our states, also from separated from everybody, and also in the unity of everybody. But actually you learn according to what Christ are speaking about us. These are the states that they themselves have gone through, and that's why they are managing us, and we have to follow their footsteps. Right to say that the Creator is revealed in the connection between us, because, well, the Creator is revealed in any situation. No, in each and every state. We can't discover Him. That's not what's written. But what is written is about the connection between us, from 2 and more till 10 and beyond 10 and so on. That's what the Creator, that's how He's leading us. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to continue the friends. Question: if there are more than 10, are we talking about it on the external level, or is there a matter of inner unity that's implied? The inner force of the connection between people that are more than 10 invites more revelation of the Creator. And when we say 10:8, 10, there's the corporeal version of it. 10 people are on the table, but there's also a deeper inner qualitative definition, which there's really a definition as a 10. That's why sometimes we say that there's only 10, only a 10, and sometimes we take into consideration only the degree of our 10, and to what quality can reach on its own. And there's more, and the quality of the 10. What does it depend on? First of all, in their desire. Can they really incorporate in that desire and try to be incorporated in a desire? Like in a 10 that yearns for unity. That's why this is how we count them. And there are certain states where a 10 is in the connection between them, and along with that, according to their state, they could be in a distance between them. And here it's the Creator that wants to help them and gives them an opportunity above that relative distance between them. So He gives them an opportunity to come closer between them with respect to the Congress. How does this formula work? There's where there are 10 who are as one, but in the Congress we want to be all of us as one 10. What is the right way to relate to it internally? Or maybe it's incorrect. First of all, we need to feel in which state each one is in his private tent. If we have an idea for an attainment on how the 10 can come closer and incorporate to be as one, and according to that they will receive revelation of the Creator, also together, and it'll be clear how we can draw into more and more connection above it, how we can divide the degrees of the incorporation and connection between us two measures to such measures that it'll already be clear to us from it how the 10 is working according to what you said then. For example, let's say we have 45 People who are visiting a congress abroad from the group. So how to connect. The matter of the person's own 10 and how the connection is within that private 10 and all the work is done there. How do we translate that to a connection for that entire group and the work in the congress? How to connect all these things properly. We'll learn about it. I'm sure it's before us. Thank you. For now, the 10. Yes. To keep the condition of unity, we need to understand what it means. Is it made up of connection between us and connection with the Creator as one? Is that how we can define that condition? Yes. How do we together in the 10 make sure that this condition is always in front of us? We can't restrict the demands of the Creator towards us, as if his demands are for some special 10. There's a collective and a private state. Here, we'll learn about it more. Yes. Thank you. How do we identify that the Creator wants to help us in the 10? Or maybe it doesn't even matter. The fact that we even belong to a world group that wants to be connected as one man with one heart and to be in such a unity that in the center of their unity there'll be a place to reveal the Creator. And it all comes from the Creator himself. And in this way, once towards the end of the excerpt, he says that only when we finish the love of friends, then we get to the love of the Lord. What does it mean? What does it mean to finish the love of friends? We need to reach through the connection between us to such a connection, just as people love each one loves the other. And along with that, they understand that only their connection, special connection above the disconnection, inequalities in relationships. They feel that only such a connection brings them to unity, to a special unity. That is similar to how the Creator is connected to creation. I ask one last question with their permission. You said before that we build the connection in the 10 between us according to the inner yearning of the friends. Now, that inner yearning that's the state that we demand. We push each other forward and accordingly the Creator assists us. How do we keep actually increasing love of friends between us? We increase above our friends, above the feeling of the distance between us as one thing and the opposite. That's it. And all our work is actually in the 6,000 years is in this, to come closer to one another and to incorporate in one another through that will attain the feeling of connection and the reality of the connection. Thank you all. Practical question which came up in our 10 yesterday. Perhaps it's relevant to more tense. Two of us are flying off to Hungary, some to Mexico. There are others who because of various conditions can't be present and some will be here. So we had a question: should we connect together at the end of the lesson to summarize the lesson together? Should we connect and summarize the day together, or perhaps we just need to work on the inner connection between us and not take any physical actions during the Congress in the 10 for as much as remain here, or also spreads their forces abroad even though we're around the same topic. But we need to try and see all of us as one. When they say, and it's possible. Can we still didn't learn? And I don't know in which lesson we will learn how attend separate intentions, but feel its parts scattered around the world that still, even though we come from one place and one connection, still we must connect, and how keep that connection. We'll talk about it. We'll learn about it. No. What more? Can I heard you saying that we need to first of all feel what state each one is in within his own personal tent. So what does it mean to feel that? What should you do? What should I do with what I feel? If there's one friend who weaker, let's say, with respect to the Congress, and another is stronger, what to do with the outcomes? The results of this examination. The results of this examination should bring me a feeling, a general feeling in which way I am connected, all the groups, all of the world, and how one influences the other. How the general world group works on my private 10 and the opposite. How does my private 10 work on the world of me? And here we can make changes, make things for the better, and do very big changes. We'll all talk about it. Yes, please. Thank you. It's written that one should annul himself before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him. Yeah. So I understand my personal responsibility, which is to anoint myself before each and every friend in the 10, and by which I gain some kind of wholeness. What does it mean that my friend should annul himself towards me? Again, I don't understand. It's written that each and everyone should gather with his friend and go to him to hear from him something related to the work of the Creator. Yeah, and he should annul himself before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him, and everyone should do the same. So what does it mean that his friend should annul himself, that my friend is supposed to annul himself before me? What does it mean? That he will feel their work, what they're doing, in order to be an annulment towards you and yourself. You can also understand what they're rewarded with, what they receive from this, to look for their anointments within their efforts. Yes, well, it's not simple, but it'll come. Thank you. And if I may, I have a question from a friend. It's written that the 10, the divinity dwells in each 10. So, what does it mean that divinity dwells within the 10, and how to reach that state? The 10 is a special desire of 10 people. Yeah, that desire comes from each and everyone to the 10, to their center, that they want to see themselves incorporated in the center of the 10, and then when they are in this tendency, so they also feel as much as the efforts they give towards a connection together. That effort brings them a new state, that each one feels himself obligated, committed to that feeling, that their connection becomes the most important point that exists in all the world and between them. And that's how you continue. Thank you very much. No, that's it. Yeah, what the excerpt says is that when there's a bigger, stronger field beyond the 10, there's more of the revelation of divinity. And so you can do that work where each friend goes to the other friend, and so on the work we usually do within the 10, we have more options, opportunities to do it. So just from experience in converses, sometimes you kind of get scattered. So we don't exactly manage to. How can we do this work better this time than usual? Is there such an opportunity? I think that we need to sit with no disturbances, even from the friends, from the 10, from anything. And you should write for yourself some kind of way that you, some path that you want to determine in the 10. If you will gather all your tendencies in such a way, it'll be more clear to you where you are and where you have to get to. As much as I hear in the last lessons, as you are prepared for this, actually, how to reach that unity. Just you have to sit together and see that we all have an understanding, a purpose, the means, and you all really want to determine this today. Maybe right now each one needs to sit and gather his inclinations. As you said, what? Inclinations towards connection. All our inclinations. Perhaps we can elaborate on what it means that each one needs to sit and collect his inclination. I don't remember what else you said there, but what do you want to ask? You gave this advice where each one should sit. You said sit by yourself and write down all your inclinations with which you want to, through which you want to connect with the friends. Yeah, so the inclinations towards connection you mean. Yes. Are there several inclinations towards connection? I don't understand. The sentence. We all learn about it. Now I still want to. Ask you said we learn about it. We'll talk about it. But there's a practical question here in the air. I have my own 10. Half the friends, half the members of my own private personal 10. They there, flying to congresses abroad to incorporate there. Now throughout the Congress I'll be sitting here with the Israeli vessel. They'll be coming here. And everywhere there are 10 meetings all over the world. It's kind of scattered. So where do I work? Should I focus on my own 10, above time, motion and space? Or the environment, the society I'm with right now surrounding me, or the whole of the world? Clear, where should I focus my inner intention? We learn that each and everyone has a place right in the general bar law. There's a place in the more restrictive, let's say the men, right around the world. We aren't really with them for now from lack of work between us, between all the 10s. We need to constantly understand that the true work will be in the connection of all the 10s as one. That's what we're talking about here. No, but I need to work with my despite the friends being scattered all over the place. We're all in the same lesson, right? So, but what do I think about? Okay, there's a lesson. Even right now, at this very moment, 2 of my friends are in Europe, another friend is in Chile, 2 of the friends are here. How should I organize all of this inside? You should, in your heart, unite your entire 10, no matter where each of them is right now. During the convention, that's it. Try and be in this way, and that's the most important thing I should hold to say. What about the hundreds and thousands sitting here with me in this physical space? How do I relate to them? How do I incorporate with them? What is my work with them? Your work with them. We already talked about it throughout this year. How you need to incorporate with the friends, with the 10, your 10, the foreign 10s, if we could say that, except for your own 10, and all these things should be already in each one's desire. I see another question before Congress. Should one feel entirely confident, or perhaps he should feel that he has no confidence before entering the Congress? Yes and no. Because until the convention, we are learning everything towards a private person, and before the convention or close to the convention we start discovering what type of work we will have during the convention and the general connection. And then we need to see as much as there is a relation between the general connection to the inner connection in the tent, and how we can bring those two closer to one another. That's it. Like there'll probably be more questions about it during the convention when we study. Yes, all throughout the lesson I have this question in me. As we prepare for the Congress, there are different types of preparations. There's what we do physically. We go over the study materials. We clear the days. We buy the tickets for the flight if necessary. But there's also this inner anticipation for connection on a different degree. And experience shows that in a Congress there's always something much bigger than we can contain. So how to prepare internally for the connection that we're going to have in the Congress? We need, I guess, to have a special lesson for that. Maybe not even one. Maybe how we locate the 10 as a special body on its own that exists. And then towards that body we can work. We'll do it in preparation for the Congress, as a preparation for the Congress. Okay. So, if we could be more precise. Here to prepare the 10 as a body coming to the Congress to do what? Incorporate with other bodies to create a bigger body. That's a question that we don't. We can't solve it. Not that. So can I ask one last question? So each one should arrive with his whole 10 within and carried into the Congress. That's what I'm hearing. Yes, every 10. Again. What do you say? Each one should arrive with his entire tent within him to carry the 10 with him in inside of him and bring it to the Congress. Yeah, it's for sure that that's how to. Each and everyone has to come that way. Thank you. As a representative of his 10, perhaps as a continuation to that, there are some who want to. It is said that when you want to jump on top of a table, you need to actually jump a little higher. Aim higher. So we need to aim high towards the Congress. But ultimately, you discover connection in the 10. Yeah. Is it try to look at the Congress in that way? We need to see the connection in the 10 as a means to everything we want to attain in the convention. So what first? Should we come to the Congress with a connection already in the 10, or do I want to connect to the Congress wherever I am there and with that connection to return to the 10? I mean where to aim. But how many lessons do we have? In the Congress we have 6 lessons. 3 days, 6 lessons, all in all 2 lessons a day. Okay, so I guess we need to check as much as it's enough for us to connect us together. 110. When are we connecting in that 10? And what we attain in that? Tend to give it, to ask questions, and to hear answers short to the point, and in this way advance. Yeah. So an individual or a 10, what should it? How can it make the Congress more successful? What can an individual or what can a 10 give so that the Congress will be more successful? Each and everyone must first of all be concerned that the general vessel around him will succeed. That's a condition for the general success. What else? To each one, remind the others about it. That only by demanding this goal, the incorporation of everyone and everyone, this we will be able to also demand of the Creator our success. The general vessel is that the whole world's clay, or wherever a person is currently. The general clay is the world clay. Thank you. Thank you. The upcoming Congress is a bit different than other Congresses. The upcoming Congress will be a bit different to previous Congresses. What do you think? We're mixing, like you shuffle cards. We're shuffling all the friends of the world group. It's not just friends traveling from here. I'm traveling to Hungary, for example, but all over the world people are traveling from place to connect with friends where they live. So what is special about this shuffling? Because usually we sit within our 10, our personal 10, and we're used to working that way. So what's special about the friends shuffling in that way? Veteran friends, new students, everyone studying in the same way, of course, but what's special? What's the value of this mix that we're doing right now in the world? This mix is the first condition that the Creator gave us, that from within we will scrutinize what exactly the purpose of the connection is, and what we need to demand, what we should pray for throughout the entire time of the convention. That's what we need. Now each one of us has his own personal tent. He bring to the Congress the spirit of his personal tent? Of course. What else? What else is there to bring? And he donates it, so to speak. He adds it to our communal pot. And in that way each one brings the spirit of his own personal 10, and together we begin to construct this communal, this collective 10. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Now it's written that the goal is to reveal the Creator to the created being in this world, in the Congress. What revelation are we aspiring towards? What revelation are we aspiring towards in the Congress? Revelation of the Creator to his created beings. What do we want to feel? Prayer. We want to feel the Creator, how he's being revealed in our common desire. He is the upper one, we as the lower ones. And in this way, we want to feel ourselves connected and organized and accepted by him. Again, Yes, if it feels to me as though the Creator is hiding within the heart of each friend, is it more important for me to try to give an example of how I open my hearts, or perhaps to somehow open the heart of a friend? If I understand you correctly. So the question is, do we need forcefully to take ourselves out of the collective of who are studying, waking up at night, and somehow coming closer to the convention, organising it, or not? You have to answer that. I try through incorporation with the 10 with other friends as well to open some emotion, to awaken some emotion into our hearts. A true desire to reveal Creator. So how to open the heart of each friend. So there will be contact. So all the heart spill and become as one as an ocean of desire. Yeah. How to open the friend's heart. Simple words. Just as you know to express, that's it. That's not a problem. The Creator feels everything. For us, it's difficult to translate what the Creator wants of us, wants to give us and more to a different language. With the Creator Himself, we have no problems because, first of all, to begin with, He invites the questions in us, and we already afterwards want to understand Him. Absolutely. One last question, if I may, because we're about to finish. We have 2 days left to the Congress, and you say that as we approach the Congress, the work that should be done in the Congress is revealed. So perhaps you can point out what we should focus on. Perhaps we need to bring some special study materials to help us delve into the topic. Again, we have 2 days, 2 morning lessons with you until the Congress comes. Thursday. Yes, Thursday morning. That's the Congress. Thursday. Friday, Saturday. That's the Congress. We're on Monday today. We have Tuesday and Wednesday to have lessons together. So I'm asking, what are the right study materials, sources that we should read and open up and perhaps talk about to help us make our work in the Congress more precise. Our work in the convention is in the connection between us to discover the Creator. That purpose we had more than once in our conventions, in that connection to understand what the Creator is demanding of us, what He wants, what He's expecting, what He's waiting from us. And as much as a person needs to be dependent on his friends, only through that he can be dependent on the Creator in a way that during the convention we will find that point of connection between us, and according to that we will find, according to that we can feel that as much as every word, every sentence that we understand in everything we were told by colists, that we will feel what every letter and sentence, what you have to attain from all of this. Thank you very much. That's it. Yes. What's the schedule today? We will now summarize the lesson together, and then we have some more things we do. We have a few reports with respect to the Congress and so on. But first of all, we will now summarize the lesson. Okay. And, well, so I won't bother you. It'll be till afternoon till 1. We continue till 5:30. Then we have an afternoon lesson, and also we will meet together the tends to read to study in our meetings, and tomorrow we have another morning lesson. Okay. So I wish you luck in your connection and the preparation towards the convention, and I'll see you. When do I need to come? We'll see you tomorrow in the lesson. Tomorrow in the lesson. Today we'll meet and read together. Good luck to you. Okay. Friends, we will now summarize the lesson in the tense. The upper force, the Creator, we can only attain if we make room in our hearts and our desires, and we start from the tent, from the group, from the others. Yes, there's no other place where a person needs to annul himself. Incorporate the 10. The concept of the 10 elicits many questions which you need to then clarify, and a person needs to sit with himself and think about how to unify, how he wants to unify all his friends during the Congress regardless of where they are and what operation he would like to have occur in his 10 and to prepare for that. Also says it sounds like told us that before the Congress there's a lot of personal private work studying but in the Congress we have shared work to do, and we need to bring our 10 in our hearts to the Congress regardless of where we are. In Israel, abroad we're connected, acted as a 10, and there we connect with the whole world and all the other 10s. There's an external connection between people in this world, and there's internal connection, and really how we can let go, well, not let go, but give more room to the inner connection, which is what works. It was a nice process, how saying that each one in subjugation towards the tent, towards the general connection, brings his desires to the centre of the tent to such an extent that that centre becomes our common desire and most important to all of us in the world. There's nothing more important than that, a place we start living in really, in practice, and really how to reach it, how to do it. It probably starts first from yearning in each one's desire to actually reach it, to make efforts towards it, to yearn for it, to pray for it, that we'll discover ourselves in a common unified place where the Creator dwells in.